The Tempe Double Butte Cemetery.
Also known as Double Butt.
Double Butte. It was previously known as just the Tempe Cemetery. It's established in 1888 by a land donated by Niels Peterson. He was actually buried here until about 1923. He was then dug up and relocated to where his house is now located. Well, it was located when he was still alive.
But why?
Well, his family wanted him to be buried by his house.
Well, that's rude.
Because it's a historical site.
Well, but he was at rest. That's rude.
I know. I mean,
That's a bit
he kind of was buried at the place that
No
he
wonder this place
donated.
is haunted.
Truth? Well, the cemetery, when it was originally out in 1888, it was actually on the outskirts of Tempe.
Now it's smack dab in the middle.
It is right in the... And,
Oh, look, my seizure dog.
It's Keo! Everybody say hi to Keo. He is a support dog.
I'm twitchy. Facts!
So the Tempe Butte,
the
double Butte
section
that we are now
Double
looking
butt.
at on this particular video is the older section. Even though it was established in 1888, there are actually 31 sections of this cemetery.
Dang.
This section, which was Pioneer A through G, and then there's other sections 1 through 12, 14 through 23.
So, okay, why did they go from letter to number to letter? What's
I
happening?
wasn't around then.
What is
so
happening?
They just did. We'll just go with that.
All right.
Okay, so in the newer part, which we didn't videotape on this particular one, is the sunrise section. It has all the lawn in the front. It's all pretty, and the headstones are kind of flat.
Because they're flat, so they can go buzz buzz over the buzz buzzies.
And then there's the sunset section, which is at the base of the butte. And there's two memorial gardens that they actually do cremations on. Some of the notable burials here, there were actually other famous people that were here, that are here. They weren't here. They're still here.
Oh, hot
They're
damn.
just a little down.
You mean buried?
Buried.
Buried?
There you go. Carl Hayden, John Robert Murdoch, Governor John Pyle. Those were just a few of notables that are buried here. Not in the Pioneer section. In other sections that we didn't get to go to because it was getting dark. We were getting scared.
And stuff was popping out of the bushes.
Yes. By the 1920s, this cemetery was kind of in financial stress. The Tempe Cemetery Company, which was established to run this particular cemetery, it went broke. They shut down.
How do you shut down a cemetery?
You shut down the cemetery.
Well,
and
that's rude.
Yeah. And although this is the desert, because we live in a desert,
Cloud versus balloon. I'm so sorry.
the cemetery started to show signs of neglect with overgrowth and, say it with me, dead trees.
Dead trees. They now have 2 entrances and exits to the cemetery.
Yes, they do.
Fun fact, I got locked inside of the cemetery at one point in the middle of the night.
Well, that's why we had to leave, because I didn't want to get locked in again.
Well, now they have 2 exits.
That's true.
They have a back exit, which they didn't have when I got locked in. So it was a treacherous path to get out.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And I was a little boo scared.
so
we were a little
sorry.
boo scared there. Anyways, back to the cemetery, back to its facts. The cemetery company shut it down. They got broke, and it was in neglect until about 1958 when the actual city of Tempe took over.
Hey, Tempe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tempe.
And what we're kind of looking at now are some of the places in the cemetery, because people were poor, they were just buried.
I mean, isn't that everybody nowadays?
Well, people aren't poor, are they?
Yeah.
Well, I am. I am. But what I'm saying is,
Everyone's poor.
in this particular part, some of the pioneers were just pieces of
look
tile.
at that.
Pieces of tile, or just a marker with some rocks around it.
That's gonna be me.
And you had to watch where you were stepping, because they just had mounds like this where there were just rocks, and those are people.
I mean, there's also holes. There's also holes in this cemetery
And
where
there
you
are.
just look straight down and there's a coffin.
Well, yeah. So you got to kind of watch where you're stepping, and you kind of got to respect the fact that there are people that aren't there with headstones. So it was pretty cool. in a way.
Yeah. No, it's awesome to go
It's
there.
surreal. It's very surreal.
Surreal and scary, and there's a weird feeling that you're being stared at all the time.
Absolutely. And family members, they did what they could when their loved ones were buried. They would make their own markers.
There's a kid section where they just have toy trucks.
It's
like little kids' toys and things because they couldn't afford anything else. They were just that's how they marked the headstone, which is kids' toys.
Yes. And like I said, this is hi Kia. How you doing, buddy? And like I said, this was the poorest section. As with these that we're seeing right now, the paupers. This is their final resting spot. No big heavy gravestone, headstone. No.
Some of these people were just found on the side of the road, and they still respected them and buried them.
And we did have one here, and I couldn't find it when we were filming it on this particular day. It was just a rock, and it was carved, and it just said, "To my friend."
Yeah.
So, yes, we live in a desert. We do plant cactuses instead of flowers, but it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous, and
it's very dusty.
I love the cemetery. It was dusty.
It was very dusty that day.
It was.
Keo pooped on almost everything.
But we cleaned it up.
Well, yeah, we cleaned it out. I'm just saying.
That right there, that's the I-10. The cemetery is actually just off the I-10 and Broadway Road. That's a mountain. It is actually called a mountain for ASU.
Why
But
are you yelling at me?
I'm not yelling. You're just looking at me. But that's traffic. That's traffic whizzing by these guys every day, night and day. It's kind of a.
It's also at the bottom of a major resort.
Yes, on the other side of
Rich
this is
people.
a very, very nice resort, the Tempe Double Boots Resort from Marriott.
Double butt.
Double. And this is right next to it. So you have the poor that are buried here.
Mm-hmm.
And then right next door you have all these rich kind of things going on at the resort. So that's kind of a weird thing.
I mean, rude.
So in 2011, after about 20 or 30 years, they decided to open up some more plots. So you can now be buried here again. The first year, I think, in 2011, there were 1,400 available.
Jesus.
And they were going quick.
Why?
It's freaking beautiful.
Why would you be buried next to a freeway?
Well, there are worse places to be buried.
That's loud.
You're dead.
Oh, okay. That's loud.
Yep.
That's not peaceful. No. What? But where did they find the land?
At the time the cemetery in 1888, there wasn't a freeway. Just saying.
Okay, but I'm just asking.
And I don't think that the freeway people. I don't think the freeway people go. Hey, there's a cemetery.
I'm currently concerned with how they came up with 1,400 new little spots.
It's in the front. It's in the front.
Where's the front?
The lawn.
There is no lawn. There is no front. There is a gate.
No, there's
and then
a gate.
Cemetery. No. Where are they putting the dead
We
bodies?
will have to do another.
Where did
video.
they find the new land? I'm just curious because there is a mountain. Are we digging into the mountain?
Well,
Is there a
there's
mine
also-
shaft?
no,
Are we throwing people into mine shafts?
There's also a cremation part,
Oh dear God!
of course. And but there are plots. There are plots that were available in 1994. They stopped selling the.
Okay,
the
so
plots
when they
and-
say there's new plots available, are they saying burial plots or cremation plots? Because that,
Again-
if you go into, a store and they say, hey, we have a sale on this item, and you go in there and they're like, hey, let's chop you up and burn you instead. That's not what you're expecting. That's not, if they're like, hey,
What stores do you shop at?
if you go in and you say, I would like to be buried here, and they're like, yeah, we have 1,400 plots available. And then they're like, okay, yeah, but you have to be ashes. That is misconstrued and misleading.
No, there are actually burial plots too. It's in the front section off of Broadway.
But where?
We'll do that in another video. We will show you the new plots
It
that there are.
doesn't exist.
It does. It does. Don't have the Tempe Double Buttes Cemetery
Double butt.
give me a call and say, look.
Look, we're not chopping up bodies or anything, but we
You
do
know,
have
let's
these
just
plots.
regroup, play some music. I'll let everybody enjoy looking at this, and we'll come
Double
back.
butts.
Double Buttes. So, on behalf of the emotional support dog that we have, Keo,
He's my service dog.
well, you have seizures.
I do have
We
seizures.
would like to say, I hope you enjoy this little film of the older part of the Tempe Double Buttes Cemetery. We actually had kind of haunting experiences, tripping over certain things and having things missing just to find them broken yards away.
Yep.
We had a film of a shadow person. We actually got a shadow person behind one of the trees.
Yeah, we did, and then I broke my phone, so it's
The-
gone.
and it's gone. But trust us, there was a shadow person there. Trust us. It's haunted. I wouldn't want to go here at night, and that's why we left.
Well, I mean, so me and my friends went here one night by ourselves, and it was open, and we went in, and we had full sight of the gate the entire time. And when we went to leave, the gate was locked. So, we had to find our own way out. And it sounded like people were scraping against the car.
Right?
Like claws against the car for the next 2 days.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had a college experiment. I took a bunch of film, and I pointed the camera upwards because the Sky Harbor the planes fly right over this. And I took a picture of the plane, and then I took about 36 pictures of the cemetery, and then I took a picture of the resort. And when I had it processed, the only pictures that came out were the airplane and the resort, and all the rest of the pictures, they weren't black, it was clear. The film was clear.
Which, if you do photography, that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. So if you want to get a little scared and you're in Tempe and you don't have anything better to do, social distancing is great right now here.
It's very great.
Go ahead and check this out.
I mean, you can see a weird witch shadow
Yeah.
in the cemetery. You feel watched all the time.
It's-
all the time. There is no time of day that you can go there, even in broad daylight, where you don't feel like you're being stared at.
It is freaking
You don't want to
scary.
go around bushes.
No.
There's actually bushes that have overtaken graves there.
Yes, and I think
there's
we saw some.
headstones. Yeah, there's headstones inside of the bushes, and me and you, our super cool selves, like buried ourselves.
Hello, my honey.
We dug our way into the middle of these bushes to go and find some kind of semblance of who these people
Yes.
were, and it was terrifying.
It was
Because
terrifying.
you feel like you're being stared at.
We felt like we were being stared at a lot when we did this film, and we also kind of heard things.
Oh my God! Yeah, the shifting, the crinkling of leaves all around us.
Oh, it was something. So I do recommend it. If you're a ghost hunter, and we're not,
No.
do yourself a doozy, because this is it's got some pretty cool things going on here.
Especially at night. Just saying.
Oh, especially at night.
Now they have another exit.
Yes, especially at night when you don't realize that they close.
Yeah. Holy crap.
So we made sure to get out really, really, really before the sun was setting.
Yeah.
Although as the sun was setting, there was a kind of a haze.
There was.
It was
there
a clear
was
day.
a weird fog that happened.
It was. We tried to film it, and then our cameras wouldn't film it.
No, yeah, all of our phones shut down.
Yeah, so definitely worth checking out. Definitely a great cemetery. And,
Especially the Poppers area.
It's amazing that they're so well cared for by their friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's surreal, and
It really kind of grounds you, honestly. It brings you back to the reality of life and death,
yes.
Because there's these people that can't afford to be buried, and they find their friends in the cemetery who knows how long ago, and they're still being taken care of.
Yes. Yeah. So go ahead and check this out if you're ever in Tempe, Arizona, and you want to check out a really great Pioneer Cemetery.
Double, butt.
Hey, there's my car. And go ahead, take a trip through the Tempe Double Butte Cemetery.
Double, butt.
Double, and make your own.
It's worth it.
It is.